Let's kick off this Bears mailbag from King Bear 24. If Rome Odunze's injury is serious, could the Bears sign Michael Thomas? Michael Thomas is still out there, King Bear. I think he's out there for a reason. I think that's got to be mentioned. He was okay last year in the 10 games he played, which, as sad as it is, 10 games is one of the healthier seasons he's had in the last 4 or 5. He was a complimentary type of piece, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 type of player for New Orleans. But if you average that out over 17 games, I mean, what is that, about 700 yards and change? I mean, that's a decent year. But for one, he is just an injury machine. 47 missed games since the start of 2020. I mean, 2020 was the last year of 16 games, so 16 plus 51 68. He's played in 21 of 68 games the last 4 years. I mean, you're available like less than a third of the time. So you have to acknowledge that. And quite frankly, look, if for some reason Rome was out for the season, yeah, like I could see them signing a free agent. But if it's like a month or even like 6 weeks, obviously you got DJ and Keenan still. Tyler Scott wasn't even active in week 1, so he'd be a guy who would have a bigger role. Still have DeAndre Carter and Velus Jones. And you got a couple of guys in the practice squad, including Colin Johnson, who I really like. So I think you could get by with what you have. But sure, if it's a major injury, maybe you consider adding a free agent. But for now, I don't think a big move would happen. What say you? If the injury is serious, would you sign Michael Thomas? Type S for sign or P for pass. Depending on when you're watching this, we could have more clarity on the Rome injury. But regardless, you guys let me know, would you sign Michael Thomas or not? Wasim Khan, Taylor or Van Pran, which would you have drafted? I'm forgetting Taylor. Who's the center Taylor? I don't know. I know Sedrick Van Pran. We mocked him to Chicago a bunch. He's not starting, so I don't know. Van Pran's not that athletic. That's part of the issue with him. So, Tory Taylor. You're saying, like, would you have taken Van Pran instead of Tory Taylor? If Van Pran can be a better starting center than what you have, probably him, but he's not starting. So, I think at least Taylor's a high-level starter. Now, say what you want about drafting a punter. There's certainly plenty to debate there, but is Van Pran better than your centers right now? Maybe down the road. Right now, probably not. Caden Gunvalson, only 2 players touch the ball every play. Need a center. I agree. I'm not saying you have to have the best in the league, but you can't patchwork it together anymore. Tried it with Lucas Patrick. Didn't work. Tried to move Cody Whitehair back. Couldn't snap the ball. I mean, Coleman Shelton had a couple of decent years in L.A., but Sean McVay let him walk for a reason. Like, he's kind of just serviceable. Like, he's okay, but he goes up against one of these elite defensive tackles, you're in trouble. Papichulo says, how many starts does Fields need to get the 4th? It's 51% of the snaps. It's actually not start dependent. 51% of the snaps. So he's played 100% so far through 1 game. So if you want to base it on starts, if he starts 8 more games, he should be there in theory. They won the game. I think they should stick with him. Like, what is Russell Wilson at this point to prove to you that you should make that switch back? I don't think Fields played great by any means, but he managed the game, ran pretty well. We know he can do that. And more importantly, took care of the ball. 0 turnovers. Like, if he plays turnover-free with Pittsburgh's defense, they're going to be in a lot of games. Like, there's value in that. And, like, is Russell Wilson going to elevate that team? I don't think so. So I think there's a decent chance that ends up being a 4th-round pick. Subscribe and join us every Monday and Thursday at 4 o'clock Central. That is the only time to be a part of these live mailbags. That's when we answer your questions live here on Chicago Bears Now, Monday, Thursday, 4 o'clock Central. Sometimes that time can change like it did this Monday. I went live a little bit later because of the Rome Odunze injury news. But, that's when you can get your questions in. So be sure to join us. Shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. Are you looking to make some money this season? Are you looking to play daily fantasy sports? Look no further than PrizePicks. Football is back, and so is PrizePicks. I made some money to start the season, and you can too the rest of the way. The way PrizePicks work is simple. You select 2 to 6 players on any given PrizePicks lineup, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. It all takes less than a minute, and signing up takes less than a minute and a half. Through the month of September, 1 Caleb Williams passing yard gets you halfway to a win on PrizePicks. If it is a 2-player entry, half a yard more or less, take the more, and you are good to go. Just 1 yard, good to go. This week, I love this play. Caleb Williams, you're going to get that check. And then Deshaun Watson, less than 220.5 passing yards. He stinks. I don't think he's going to be throwing for mid-200s much this year. So I like the less on Watson there. 10 to win 30 on this entry. And by the way, PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS gets you a $50 bonus once you place your initial $5 entry. Hell of a deal. Get an additional $50 regardless if you win or lose. It's PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS to get that $50 bonus once you play for $5. Okay. Let's keep it rolling here. DC Viper, how concerned are you with how the offense played? Is this something to worry about if it is the same next week? I mean, it needs to be better next week. Now, does it need to go from terrible to awesome? No. Let's get some incremental steps here. Let's at least look more competent throwing the football, right? Let's protect a little better. Let's have a better game plan from Shane Waldron. I'm not expecting this to go from one of the worst offenses in the NFL from the first week to one of the best, but can it be the 20th best offense in week 2? We'll see. You got good weapons, you got good pieces. Starts up front, and let's get Caleb into a rhythm a little bit. If it looks more of the same, yeah, be a little bit more worried. If more of those happen, the more worried you're going to get. It's only natural. Jacob, are you concerned with how little Waldron was getting the ball to Rome? I mean, yes, no. You got a lot of weapons. In general, you struggle to get into a rhythm, so it's hard to say. Keenan Allen and DJ were also getting open a decent amount of the time, so I'm not going to complain about feeding those guys. I mean, they're your top 2 guys right now, so that's just the reality of the situation. Obviously, Rome is banged up. Depending on when you're watching this, you may or may not know how long he's out. But, obviously you want Odunze to grow throughout the season, assuming he does play, and be a part of this offense. Predict the score of Bears versus Texans on Sunday Night Football. Who do you have winning, and what is the final score going to be? Check out our preview episode to get my official score prediction. John Orticelli, how concerned are you with the play of Coleman Shelton? I mean, he's just as bad as Mustipher was. I would not go there. He had a few really bad reps. Beyond that, I thought he was okay. I mean, Mustipher at times just looked confused. Now, listen, some of Shelton's bad reps were really bad, so I think that's why we're like, oh, God, this is a disaster. But it's kind of how Nate Davis is, too. His bad reps are so bad that it's glaring. But, 80% of his snaps, okay, he was fine there. Not saying he's a world beater, but, it is what it is. I don't think he's that good, but you're hoping he cleans up the glaring errors and is at least serviceable to solid. That's what you're hoping for. If you got more questions that we didn't get answered here, find me on Twitter at HGramNFL. It's the same handle over on Instagram. DMs are open. Got to catch up on a few DMs following the Week 1 game, so apologies for that, but we will get caught up. It is at HGramNFL.